Hello and welcome to the Odds.com.au World Cup preview. I'm here with our resident soccer expert, Bren O'Brien. It's a bit of a role reversal, Bren. I'm in the host chair, you're in the experts chair, but we're going to the World Cup and we need to find a winner. We'll kick it straight away with an outright champion. Who do you think is going to take all the chocolates here in Russia?
Yeah, of course, the tournament kicks off tonight with a underwhelming fixture between Russia and Saudi Arabia. I don't know how many Aussies will be staying up late to watch that, but they've got to kick it off somewhere, I suppose. But the team I'm really keen on, and I'm big on this, is Belgium. Now, I think they're well over the odds at about $12. Now, can you imagine Belgium being a World Cup champion? I mean, there's not a lot of people that would think that they're a world powerhouse, but they've got an amazing side. They really have got an absolute golden generation. We were lucky as Australian fans to see the golden generation come through about 15 years ago. The likes of Viduka and Kuehl and Everton and Bresciano and these guys. They've certainly got a golden generation and a half, far superior to what we had, and they've got a real chance of winning this tournament. The likes of Kevin De Bruyne, they've got Eden Hazard, they've got Romelu Lukaku, they've got a lot of really quality players, even Thibaut Courtois, the Chelsea keeper as well. So they're well positioned. They're in a pretty straightforward group. If you look at the fact that they've got England in their group, it's a bit of a tricky one, but not really when you consider that they're England.
I wasn't going to say it, but
and outside that got Tunisia and Panama. So it's a relatively straightforward group for the Belgians. They then come across to the other group that they play in the second round. That's Poland, Senegal, Colombia and Japan. Now that's by far the most even group of the competition, but it's also one of the weakest really. And they should have no trouble in the second round either. The challenge will be getting through to the quarterfinals where they're likely to meet one of Germany or Brazil. But you've got to meet those teams at some stage of the tournament. And I reckon the quarterfinals is actually a good opportunity for Belgium to really flex their muscles. As I said, they're $12 at the moment, well over the odds in my opinion, and definitely worth the play.
Yeah, $12. I'll have a big chunk of that, I think. We'll move along to an Australian bet, and you don't have a whole lot of confidence in the Aussies under old mate Bert here in Russia 2018.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to go to two World Cups. In 2006, I mentioned before, we had some really great quality players. 2010, though, at the end of that era. And probably lacked a bit of strike power. It's a similar situation here. I mean, they've really lack quality strikers. If you look at the Australian team, they're only 2 of their 23 in the squad have scored more than 8 international goals. And of course, you've got Tim Cahill at the top of that, who's about 84 years old. So that concerns me. They've also only got 6 players with previous World Cup experience. So they're not exactly the world's most experienced squad. Look, I'm hopeful for the Aussies, but I really think that they may struggle to score. And there's a market with Sportsbet at the moment which is under 1.5 goals in total for the group stage at $3.10. And I think that's money for jam. You also got to consider their opponents in the 3 group games. They've got France. They've conceded just 6 goals in 10 World Cup qualifiers. We've got Denmark, have had 4 clean sheets in a row. And we've got, of course, Peru, who have conceded just 1 goal in their past 7 matches. So they've got 3 teams with strong defences against them. Look, I hope Australia can get a goal. They didn't get a goal in the 1974 World Cup. Of course, Tim Cahill famously scored our first ever goal in the World Cup in 2006. Could be a tough run for them. I think they may get 1 goal and maybe against Peru, and they might eke out a 1-1 draw, but happen to be on the $3.10 about the Aussies under 1.5 goals.
Let's hope for our punter's sake that is true, but let's hope for our Aussie fans that it isn't. We'll move right along to your next futures bet, and it's an interesting one. It's Poland. It's Robert Lewandowski, or Lewandowski, however you want to say it, and co. And you like the look of them to at least make it through the group stage.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, they're in a group which contains the likes of Colombia, Senegal, and Japan. Now that's a relatively easy group for them. They dropped just 1 match in the qualifying group, and they topped the qualifying group, which included Denmark. And as mentioned before, Denmark are highly rated, and they're in Australia's group. So it's a good opportunity here for Poland to make a bit of an impression in the group stage. Their problem is they're probably going to play one of Belgium or England in the second round, and I think that might prove too much for them. So they're $2.62 to get knocked out in the last 16. Now, as I get daggers here from our director of photography here, Wojtek, who's a proud Polish man who's pretty keen on their hopes in Russia, I've concerns at their ability to get through that. And I said the $2.62, I think at that stage they'll probably bow out, and it's probably not a bad bet.
Not a bad run. At least make it through the group stage. At least they get there. Next one is Group E. You think you've got Group E locked down. You think you know what you're talking about here with Group E. And to be honest, I like the look of it. The interesting one is Switzerland. I'll let you run through it, but to a layperson, they potentially seem the one that could throw a spanner in the works.
So this market is predicting the exact order of the group. And it's a bit of fun, this one, because it sort of gives you a feeling that you can predict what's going on. They've obviously got a clear top pick in Brazil. They very rarely bomb out in the group stage of World Cups. They've got an extraordinary good record, especially in group stages. And they should get through relatively unharmed at the top of the group. You've got Costa Rica, who was the great surprise packet of the last World Cup, and of course topped their group last time around. But I'm just worried about the Ticos and how they're going to go and backing up 4 years later. They've had a little bit of turmoil around them. There's a little bit of queries around them, and I think that they're definitely at the bottom of the group. So the key for me is Switzerland or Serbia, who finishes second. So if you pick Brazil to win, Switzerland to finish second, Serbia third, and Costa Rica fourth, that's $4.50. I've got a bit of faith in Switzerland. They've got had a strong qualifying performance. They tied with Portugal on top of their qualifying group and ended up having to go through the knockouts, but were able to get over Northern Ireland there. And that gives them the edge over Serbia. But their match on June 22nd is basically, for me, will be the head-to-head match that determines who finishes second and who goes through in this group. Confident Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia, Costa Rica, in that order at $4.50.
$4.50, very nice. And finally, we go to the Golden Boot, and my man and my potentially favourite name, and you mentioned it earlier, favourite name in the World Cup, Romelu Lukaku. You're on the Belgium train, and you've gone him for the Golden Boot.
Yeah, I mean, I am going strong on the Belgian connection, but his scoring record for his country is outstanding. He looks really good value at about $17. Like, you've got Neymar at the top of the order and Messi and these guys, they're all the big ones. I just think that he's been completely ignored. He scored a brace in his final warm-up game against Costa Rica. He hasn't been overused in those warm-up games. He's only played sort of 65, 70 minutes. He's got a ridiculously good record. He's scored 13 goals in the past 9 internationals for Belgium. So when you consider that, I mean, at odds of $17, it makes plenty of sense to me. So I think he's definitely the value. And the one at a sneaky price at about 50 to 1 at the moment is Isco for Spain. I think he will have a very good World Cup as well. But confident Romelu Lukaku here at $17 is supreme value for the leading goal scorer.
I do like both of those a hell of a lot. Anyways, until next time, thank you for joining us, Brendan. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we found you a winner or two. We'll see you throughout the World Cup for more video updates.